Growing up neurodivergent in neurotypical ableist societies, it's often the case that we struggle. And as a result of that struggle, we learn to overfunction. We might become workaholics, trying to earn our keep, but also earn our worth through our output. We become very dedicated to our careers, our professions, whatever it is that brings meaning or at least a sense of purpose to our lives, and also a sense of being productive and justifying our existence, because a lot of us live with this insecurity that we're not worthy and that we have to justify our existence, that we don't have a right to live, that we're inherently unlovable. And through walking on this treadmill of workaholism, we can prove to ourselves that we are worthy, but it's conditional. So when we stop working, when we let go of this coping mechanism, we crumble. We feel like we're inferior, like we have no worth, that there's no point living. Another expression of this overfunctioning is perfectionism. If we do anything, our enterprise has to be 100% perfect. We have to make sure that we are doing it to the nth degree in terms of excellence, in terms of being a cut above the rest, beating our competition, hands down, making sure that we are exemplaries, that we are excelling, that we are standouts and noteworthy people. And our output is also noteworthy because that is, again, proof of our worth. If we can accomplish something if we're perfect in our conduct, if we're perfect in our work, and we're perfect in our output, then we have proofs to hold up against the universe that doubts our worth. This internalized sense of inferiority, of deficiency, of defectiveness that we acquire being neurodivergent. We come by this because society sends us many tacit and sometimes explicit messages indicating that we aren't worthy because we're defective, broken, inferior. Because of our neurodivergence, because we show up differently, we are seen to be not meeting a bar that's set by neurotypicals for neurotypicals. It doesn't accommodate the fact that our brains are wired differently, that we might have other co-occurring challenges like sensory differences, motor differences, executive dysfunction, or co-occurring health problems like hypermobility that impede our ability to perform. So we go out of our way to prove that we can, and we can do it better than you. And that creates a huge burden on us. And then coupled with that is overachieving. So we have workaholism, perfectionism, and overachieving. It's not enough that you get one award, you have to get a ton. It's not that you have one book, you have to write 50. It's not enough that you are doing 5 volunteer gigs, you have to do 10. I'm exaggerating here, but the logic is that there is never enough to be done because you're on that treadmill, again, of proving conditional self-worth. And this is all because a series of events, often in our early life, have planted a seed in our head that has bloomed into a sense of inferiority that we have to spend often the rest of our lives overcompensating for. We have to go through inordinate amounts of effort, great labor, great straining of our faculties and of our energy levels to keep hitting this bar and exceeding it so we can prove our worth, so we can temporarily quiet the critic in our head. And it is exhausting. I think many of us, if we had a choice, we would forego the sense of inferiority and with it, the desire to strive, to be perfectionistic, to overachieve, to be a workaholic. These things that we find in some ways fulfilling because they can be stimulating, gratifying. We get praise from other people. We get accolades or awards for our success, promotions, pay bumps in our salary. These things motivate us to some extent, but the toll it takes on us is so disproportionate that I think many of us, if we had a choice, we would forego that and maybe not live with this critic in our head constantly hammering us and telling us that we're not doing enough and having to feel like we have to justify our existence through continued success, output, achievement. Have you struggled with this as somebody who is neurodivergent, with perfectionism, workaholism, overachieving? How's it shown up in your life? And how have you found balancing that with the more realistic assessment of your needs as a neurodivergent? You might not have necessarily the energy levels, the stamina, the ability, or the challenges that impede you to succeed. Have you found balancing that? Has it been difficult? And have you set this really high standard for yourself and then in turn set that for other people and found other people don't measure up? Do you become so kind of attached to this perception of achievement or certain outcomes that you expect the same for other people and rigidly apply it as much to yourself as to other people. How's it shown up in your life? I would love to hear all about it.